Hi, everyone. It's week 2. It's Michelle with an overview of leadership styles. So I thought this would be a good topic to cover while you are reading the overview of the 7 habits. And so in a class called Personal Leadership, it's really important to know what are the leadership theories that I have at my disposal? What might be a good leadership theory that works well for me? And what does that mean in terms of how I behave in the workplace and what the experience of the people that I lead is going to be if I use this theory. So let's start off by saying there's no one right leadership theory. There are many that a person could employ and utilize, and it really depends on what fits well with you and also the situation that you find yourself in. And sometimes people want to just pick a leadership theory and just stick with it. I'm a transformational leader, and that's great. But when you find yourself in a situation where that isn't useful, that skill set isn't useful, then what else are you going to do in terms of your toolkit and influencing people to move forward in the right direction? And so if you can have a couple theories that you really like and you really know well, then you can use those when the situation fits. And so I know that's not, students complain about that all the time. I want to have the theory and I'm the leader and they'll just have to deal with it. But while that may be true, it wouldn't be the most effective use of your ability to lead. And so I thought I would just kind of highlight 5 different leadership styles, 4 of them that obviously we're not going to talk about in this class. The 5th one, principled leadership, is really about the 7 habits and having principles that guide your decisions. And so we'll touch on that last, but the other 4, this will be probably your only opportunity to hear about them. So kind of tracing back leadership, one of the first theories that came out was about these 3 styles of leadership. And granted, the field has come a long way since then, but we still teach these, right? So there are 3 styles, 3 basic styles. There's authoritative, democratic, and laissez-faire. Authoritative being I'm the boss. What I say goes, I say you do, not a whole lot of employee input. Now, there are definitely times that you're going to need that skill set because you could be coming into a situation where you're taking over a very poor performing department. Maybe you have some employees or an employee that does not want to be there. They're not motivated. They're not doing a good job. And you have to then say, what's going to work in this situation is authoritative, unfortunately, but it does come up. And so there are situations also just in a standard, work day at some companies, you're dealing with a very like construction and you've got people up high moving heavy objects. Maybe you're dealing with hazardous materials. And so there's not a whole lot of what do you guys think would be the best way to do this? It's sort of there's laws that govern what you're doing. And so you need to follow those laws and make sure everybody else is too. The second one, democratic, is tell me your opinions. What does everybody think we should do? Or what are your thoughts? And then I, as a leader, am still going to make the final decision, but I want to know what you think. And then the last one, this laissez-faire, is a very laid back. I kind of gave you my vision. I don't care how you get there. My approach is very hands off. And while that has worked for certain people in certain industries, it's definitely in the minority. And some of those leaders that did have a very hands-off approach have had to switch gears just with the level of competition, the level of information data that's being, produced every single day, the level of competition, all sorts of new rules. It's really hard to have that hands-off approach unless you're dealing with people who are very skilled, very educated. Then yes, you can kind of say, I'm here, I'll hold you accountable. I'm here if you need to ask me questions, but otherwise I'm doing my thing over here and you guys are doing your thing. A leadership theory we don't hear a lot about, and that's unfortunate, is this level 5 leadership. And it comes from a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. And what he set out to do is to find out what kind of leader can take a company that's performing good, but bring them through a transformational process and have them be a great company. So good to great. And so they said, here are our parameters. The company's got to be like this, and then they've got to perform at this level for us to consider looking at their CEOs. Well, of the companies that they looked in the Fortune 500, there were only 11 companies that made the cut and were analyzed through this whole process in the book. And of the 11 CEOs, they were really amazed to find out this level 5 that really made a difference in taking companies from good to great. And a lot of people think that the best leaders are the most outgoing, extroverted, charismatic leaders who can really influence people to follow this great, exciting vision. And that was not true at all in these situations. The level 5 leaders were actually humble, quiet. A lot of them were unheard of, but their ability to know what they're doing, make tough decisions, stand by those decisions, know when to, get rid of a business segment, whatever they needed to do, they made these decisions and they stuck by them, and they had incredible will and were able to transform companies from performing great to performing good to performing great. And so I love that, because not all great leaders are extroverts. And a lot of times, especially in this research, they found quite the opposite. And so that's a good thing for introverts. All right, another leadership theory is called situational leadership, and this can be utilized in two ways. How you want to use this is actually starting in the quadrant S1 in the lower right hand with an employee that is new, a department that has been newly formed. Maybe you're working on a new project. And as a leader, your employees are overconfident, but very underskilled. And so they don't really know what they're getting into at this point. So you have to do a lot of telling, explaining, and kind of help them through every step in the process. When they get to the S2 quadrant, so they're going up there from S1 to S2, now their confidence is shaken, because now they're involved in what they're doing, and it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. So you continue to kind of help them through, but they're also learning a few things. So they're feeling better about their abilities and their skills, but their confidence is really shaken. So you got to kind of sell your way through it. You're doing it. Let's keep going. All of a sudden, you're moving them into quadrant 3. And that's where their confidence is coming back. They've got skills. They know what they're doing for the most part. And you're really starting to step back and just coach them. And then you want to take your employees, don't stop there. You want to take your employees to S4, and you want to know that they're fully confident, that they're completely aware of everything that they should be doing and how they should be doing it. So maybe S3, you're kind of checking in. What else do you need to know from me? What else can I offer in order to get you to just be completely on your own with me, just, checking in and getting status updates. You can also use this leadership model to walk into a new situation that may not be new for the employees, but it's new for you. And so you want to take a look at, all right, where are these people? I mean, they have high confidence, low confidence. What is their ability to do what they're doing? Is it low, high? Where are they? And then once you figure out where they are at, then okay, this is how I, as a leader, am going to best help these people. Then we have servant leadership. I hope that you've heard of this one. It's pretty common. And that says, I'm really going to come under my employees. I'm going to figure out what they need and I'm going to support them in that. I'm going to be approachable. I'm going to know my employees. I'm not going to be sitting in some corner office, oblivious to what they need or what they're doing. So even though you are the leader, you're still really involved with the employees and you're showing that servant leadership to them so that they know you really do care about them, about the customer, about the work that's being done. And then stemming from that democratic leadership, participative leadership in some ways is just an extension of the democratic leadership. Originally, it was kind of this thought process where we have mutual support that we have built and are going to continue to build on through trust. You're going to trust me because I'm going to meet your needs. You're going to do a good job with the customers and the work that you're doing, and I'm going to be trusting you. And so we can work together more as a team than as a leader and subordinates. Group decision making, and then very high standards. So even though the employees are involved, it doesn't mean that we can sort of sit back. You just have to keep the high standards in front of them and then offer them that high support. It was later added to, and in a way that kind of says, okay, let's continue to ask for buy-in, because what it does is increases engagement, makes employees feel like they're a part of the decisions that are being made, and they feel invested in the decisions that are being made versus being told constantly, here are the decisions coming down, top down, top down. And they may actually even be the wrong decisions because you haven't asked the people actually doing the work. And so this is a great leadership theory. It is very time intensive. So when you're constantly opening yourself up to, here's where we want to go, what do you guys think, what are your ideas, and making sure that everybody has a chance to offer the feedback that they want to, and then kind of taking it up to the next level and then saying, I'm coming back to you with what you said, this is what I'm proposing, how do you guys think this is going to work, and then giving them some more time to sort through it. It's really time intensive, but it does pay dividends to operate like that. Not always is it the best scenario if you're in a time crunch to kind of lay that out for employees, because you want to give them adequate time to respond. Sometimes also when you're dealing with this type of leadership philosophy, because people are getting a chance to say their thoughts and their ideas, it also, some conflict starts to happen, because now the employees are saying, why would you come up with that idea? We've tried it before, it didn't work. Or someone may say that won't work, or there starts to be some conflict that you really have to start managing early on, that and make sure that people know, be respectful of each other. Everybody's opinion matters. All right, and then finally, we have principled leadership. This is going to come like from a book, for, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. There are these principles that they have tried and tried again that seem to be sort of, time doesn't really affect them. So when you think about a habit like win-win, creating a win-win scenario between you and your vendors, you and your customers, you and the owners of the company, you and the government, you and the community, whatever it may be, when you're thinking about a win-win situation, that worked 50 years ago, that still works today. People want to be heard, to know that you understand what their top needs are. Like you want to be heard, and for you to be understood what your top needs are, and for those to be met. And so really communicating a lot and being very open-minded about what people, ideas that people have, is really going to help you create those win-win situations. And so principled leader has leadership principles that they just stand by, that they can apply to all sorts of situations. And so very effective. And that's why this book, where is it? How many copies have it sold? 40 million copies sold. And I know that you can get the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teenagers, whatever it may be. And so, because it's a great book and the principles really stand the test of time. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. Send me an email or send me a text. Thank you for listening.